With that, Megan, come forward and give us our hydrology report. Morning.
Gloomy picture of the Alapahoc on a gloomy day. This is the history of January rainfall totals going back to 1932. The lowest is on your left at 0.14 inches, which was in January of 1950, and the highest total was in 1991, nearly 12 inches. In the middle there is about 3.69 inches, typical for January. And this was our January total, 0.82 inches. We tied, essentially tied 1934 for the third driest. So this was an exceptionally dry January. Looking at how that was distributed, this is a map of actual rainfall totals across the district. Notably, the most rainfall was in the center portion there with the light blue color, basically in a band from Steenhatchee to Stark, a narrow band. Levy County came out the worst, and as has been typical in the northern part of the district, we've had some consistently low rainfall totals. And pulling back to the basin as a whole, this is a map of percent of normal rainfall, percent of what you would expect for January. Browns are not typically good on these maps, but especially in the southern part of the district, Levy County, as I said before, 10% of normal January rainfall. The upper part of the basin in Georgia did not fare much better, generally less than 25% of what you would expect. So this comes after a pretty dramatic year. Of course, this is a 12-inch departure from normal rainfall. And we still have a pretty extreme swing between the northern counties where we have as much as 15 inches of deficit, and in the central part, which was hit by tropical storms and by heavy rain in the summer. So that's our wettest area so far, looking at the past 12 months. And if we look at the last 3 months departure from normal, remember we had a very dry November as well. So in terms of 3-month rainfall, the southeastern part of the district, including the upper Santa Fe, has actually received the most rain. Its deficit up to about 3 inches, but it's that center part of the district with up to 7 inches of deficit in the last 3 months. So it makes you wonder if things aren't trying to even out in the middle of the district. So a reasonable question to ask, if we have a dry January, does that lead to a dry spring? The answer is maybe. This is the driest January, the 10 driest January grouped to the 10 wettest Januaries the last 80 years. The rainfall following those Januaries is on this map. So the 10 driest Januaries typically had a following slightly drier spring than wetter Januaries. And you would expect this from typical forcing from La Nina and El Nino, meaning a dry winter begets a dry spring, wet winter begets a wet spring, and that seems to be what the record says. However, in the middle you see a big disparity. Right around the middle it can be wet or dry spring. So what have our rivers done in response to this? Well, last month most gauges were in a normal range, or lower normal range, rather. This was really the last blast from rainfall of the summer. And today we see a definitely deteriorating condition. So flow conditions at most gauges in the district are now extremely low for this time of year. Santa Fe is just a little bit better, but flows are still declining on that river. Groundwater, of course, we wouldn't expect to see much improvement in a month with hardly any rain. Generally slow declines throughout the district. This map looks very much like the map from December. Most of the district is in a range considered normal. And if we look at the history of groundwater conditions in the district since 1975, that line is the 50th percentile. We're down now about the 37th percentile. We peaked in September with nearly 70th percentile. So coming up short term, this is the forecast from the River Forecast Center for this event coming up in the next several days. Moderate rainfall in the district, 3/4 of an inch or so. This may prove to be an optimistic forecast, but right now this area of intense rain in the upper part of the basin is happening. We're seeing 3 inches in the gauge up at Tai and in the upper part of the Alapaha. So hopefully we'll see some water coming down the Withlacoochee and Alapaha, so that we are getting some good rain up there as we speak. That pattern of heavier rain in central Georgia can probably be expected again next week, with above normal rainfall in the center of Georgia, near normal in the peninsula. Near normal, unfortunately for the peninsula, is fairly dry. So we're going to be somewhere in that middle uncertainty where potential's there for some decent rain, but we may be on the dry end of it, especially in the southern part of the district. And the long-term persistent drought in the southeast and development of drought in the peninsula, further development. So this forecast is good through the end of April. After April, no clear signals, equal chances of wet or dry in the long term. So summing up, bottom line, we had an exceptionally dry January. It caused all our rivers to decline in flows. We're seeing groundwater levels fall, but very slowly. And long-term real drought persists through the spring with a very emphatic question mark that hopefully that forecast will not pan out. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Megan for the board?
The graph you put together, the 10 driest and 10 wettest Januaries, and how that corresponds to spring rainfall. Is that really a good indicator?
No.